Young people, listen to my words and heed them greatly. What is your skill set? Listen, I've been looking on the TikTok machine. One of the things I've been getting to recognize and beginning to understand is that a lot of young people don't have any abilities or skills. And the skills and abilities they do have, they're not really like going to help in the market. And a lot of people go around and they say, check your passion, find your passion, and you do that passion, and you do something you really love, and you never work your day in life. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. If you follow your passion, and once again, I'm not saying don't follow your passion, but if you follow your passion don't make no fucking money, you will be working for the rest of your life to do your passion. And that's a way, way, way worse existence than you can ever imagine. Because your whole life you'll be living, working to be able to spend a little bit of time that you do have to do your passion. And what I'm trying to preach to you guys is go find something that meshes with your personality, find a skill set, something that you will get rewarded greatly for doing, and go do that. Just make it that simple. Especially men. Like women, women have their ability to go just chase their passion because they have a thing called marriage. And they can find a husband. If their husband pays greatly as far as like how much money he makes, they can afford their wife to just find a passion and do that. But this is for my young men out there. For you guys that have been lied to, told to go to school, become an entrepreneur, all these different things. Listen, let me tell you something. All paths lead towards you having to find a skill set that you can command a pay scale that's worthy of being able to live a decent life on the market. That's what your job is as a man. That's the primary aspect of being a man, is figuring out something that you can do that will get you paid and keep you at least some liquid cash in your pocket so you can afford to do the things you really want to do, so you can put money into investments so then you can afford to work on whatever you want to work on without worrying about money. But we got to get into this thing. It's like, what is a skill set? And I know this sounds so simple and so rudimentary and fundamental, like you should already know what a skill set is, but most young guys don't know what a skill set is. And let me tell you something that's not a skill set. Working out, rapping, trapping, those are not skill sets. Poetic speech, these things are not skill sets. I hate to tell you that. You know why? Because they don't bring any intrinsic value to the people around you besides like a small thing of entertainment. You got to hope that there's some type of marketing, that somebody like behind you in a machine puts that forward for you to be able to do your skill set to be successful. But that's not mostly. We don't live in that day and age where you can be like Elvis Presley, get discovered at what you call it, at a talent show, and then go off and make millions and millions of dollars. Those days are done. You have to find things that are actually tangible that can benefit a corporation or people in your community. And so let's get into it. Like, how do you spot a skill set? See, one of the things you have to learn as a man, and I had a video about this, about like how to live a man, which is pretty much rest, observe, plan, act. Rest, observe, plan, act. If you just keep doing that four loop circle, you eventually find all things that will come to you in time, and it'll be pretty easy to identify what you should be doing in your life. Rest, observe, plan, attack. Do those four things. But while you're in your rest and your observation period, you need to be observing who has the lifestyle that you particularly like, and then find out what they do. And that will kind of get you in the midst of where you want to be in life. Like, if you want to make a lot of money, what I found out, if you want to make a lot of money in this life, there's two things you got to do. You either got to work in finance, you got to be able to make money, you got to be able to make people who have money, and then take money and siphon it off to you, or work in like some type of high-end skilled labor ability that most people can't do, can't comprehend, and have no idea, that protect assets of people. So like me, for example, I got two high-end skill sets. One, well, actually three. I got three. One is like cybersecurity, networking, understand computers, networks, databases, how to protect them, how to install them, how to preserve your data, how to keep those things safe and make sure you have backups. That's a really high-end skill set because every corporation, every human being that has any type of network, every government entity needs people who can protect their network. Because if your network is not protected, you will be hacked. And when you become hacked, that becomes a huge liability, a huge problem because your shareholders, your workers, everything shuts down. So that's a huge skill set that you want to be able to have. Another high skill set that people like to talk about is sales. Sales is huge because the ability to convince people to part with their hard-earned money for a product or a service is huge in today's age because people are always going to need things. So salespeople are always making money. And usually, I don't even like to say sales is really a skill set. I would say sales is more so like a complementary skill set to your skill set. Like you want to be able to sell your product or service to other people or to corporate entities or to governments or whoever the hell you're working with. Those are huge things to work on. But you want to be able to spot it. So wherever you see like large corporations, large things, you have to find out what do they need. And most of the time, they usually need security, salespeople, and people who bring in people so their salespeople can sell. If you can do one of those three things, you make a lot of money. You'll be able to take care of yourself very well. Now, do you have to necessarily like it or love it? Not necessarily. I mean, what you need to find is fulfillment. I think the idea of liking and loving your skill set is not much of a smart thing to go by. I like to say I find fulfillment in the things that I do. Like I find fulfillment in putting television out. I find fulfillment in handyman jobs. I feel fulfillment in educating and teaching people. I find fulfillment in generally just being able to do things and see a task come to an end and then be able to see the structure and things that I built, observe it, watch it, and say, that's cool. I fucking do that. That's where I find fulfillment. Now, how do I find that fulfillment? I find that through the skill set that I combine. So you got to kind of look at your skill set as the input and find fulfillment as the output. And that's the best way I can kind of preach on what a skill set is and how to find a skill set. Like your skill set, you don't necessarily need to love what you do all the time. Now, if you can love what you do, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But there's always going to be trade-offs and negativity things that come off with skill set because that's just life. There's no such thing as a perfect life. There's no such thing as getting everything that you want with no negative benefits. It just doesn't exist. So, sorry, Miss Apex coming in and distracting me. But then you have to learn, how do you gain that skill set? Well, the way to gain a skill set is only one way. Time. Practice over time. The more you practice and the longer you practice, the better you will get over time. Practice multiplied by time. If you do practice and you do it by a lot of time, you will eventually be granted a skill set or proficiency in a skill set. So for example, like running. When you first start running, you're not going to be very good at it. But the more time you apply to running, the better you will get at running over time until you master the ability to be able to run at a highly proficient level, which means you can run for a long period of time without getting super tired and your body doesn't break down. That's the goal. That's the same thing with anything in life when it comes to being even a YouTuber. The more you talk in front of a camera, the better you get at talking in front of the camera and the bigger the rewards you get. And that's what you got to understand as a skill set for young men. You can't be dilly-dallying over all these different things. You got to kind of find something, stick with it for a little bit, figure out, is it something that you can do? Does it beat your body up? Does it beat you up mentally? Do you feel like you want to blow your brains out when you do it? Do you enjoy doing it? Like, you got to keep constantly upgrading. And that's one of the things when you look at a skill set, you want to find a skill set that has a lot of intricacies to it, a lot of different things to it. Because the more intricate, the more complex the skill, the less people that are going to be able to do it, and the less people that are going to be able to do it at a high level and proficient level, which means you will command more money in the marketplace. And that's why you need a skill set, because you need a skill set to be able to survive as a man. You can't be a pretty boy. And that's one of the things that have been sold to the young men of today's age, is that for some reason, a lot of you guys believe that you can be on TikTok, paint your fingernails, have curly hair, look like Drake, wear weird clothing, and that's going to be a skill set that's going to pay you in social media. Listen, let me tell you something about the social media game. Don't depend on it. The people who make the most money on social media don't need it. I know that sounds like a quink-a-dink, but it really is the truth. The people who make the most amount of money on social media don't actually need that money from social media, because they have a skill set. And what they're doing is they have value in real life. They come into front of the camera, they talk in front of the camera, and as a result, their value from real life gets transferred through that camera, comes into you, which is you watching me. You learn something, you apply that to real life, and then you see the value, then you come back and keep watching. So you look at like Valuetainment, Alex Hermozzi, Chael Sonnen. There's a bunch of other guys I like watching. But you watch all these different guys on the YouTube machine, and the reason that you like watching their content is because they have so much information and so much value, because they have a skill set. They have a wealth of knowledge from a skill set that they do in real life. They bring that real life into the camera. You watch from the camera through your computer screen like you're doing, or through your phone. And as a result, you gain knowledge, access, information, education, and you grow as a human being, and you level up, and you gain a skill set that you can apply to real life. And that's really the game. One of the things, I don't take the social media thing too seriously. I try not to, because if I do, I'll lose my mind. Because it's very slow, it's a very long grind. But what you learn is, through applying your life in real life and learning a skill set in real life, you can transfer this over to YouTube, because you have plenty of things to talk about. So don't be one of these pretty boys that think because they're pretty, they're young, they work out, that they now have a skill set. No, social media influencing is not a skill set. It's not, because that thing can come crashing anytime as soon as you get boring and people don't want to watch you more. Which inevitably they will get bored of you. Why? Because you don't have a skill set. You don't have anything to build upon. You don't have any education to really give these people. You're merely just a dancing clown, like those people like Mario. Oh, taco, 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 like the Pinky Doll. Don't be Pinky Doll. Be me. So let's get into this. There's different types of skill sets. There's high versus low skill sets. So just like in Pokemon, like there's other Pokemon that are better than some Pokemon. Like a Pidgey's not as good as a Charizard. Same thing with certain skill sets. Like being able to dig ditches is not as valuable as being a cybersecurity chief information officer. Why? Because one takes an instrumental amount of time to learn and capture the ability to do it, learn how to be good at it, be an expert at it, and be able to transfer that to other people and be able to help protect them in the thing. If you could dig a ditch, anybody can dig a ditch. Anybody can get a shovel, dig in the ground, and after about a week or two, you will figure out how to dig a perfect ditch. But then the thing goes is like, okay, how perfect does a ditch need to be? Unless you're building pools. Now it's a different level. If you're building pools, then you got a different level skill set. That skill set's a little bit higher because it has to be leveled, even. You have to take different type of, make sure you don't hit any water lines. You got to talk cities. There's a lot of different skills that go into building a pool as opposed to just digging a ditch. So what you want to figure out in life is, do I have a high-end skill set or a low-end skill set? And the way you could tell is by what's the market paying. See, the market dictates your value. Don't let your mama tell you that you're perfect, you're important, so forth and so forth. The market dictates your value. So the more the market demands that need or that whatever that need needs to be satisfied, the more money you can command on the market because there are less people probably doing it. That's why there's a market for it. There's not really a big ass market for sex workers. You know why? Because any woman can be a sex worker. There's not really a big market for personal trainers. You know why? Anybody can be a personal trainer. There's not a huge market for like social media people because everybody can do social media. Anybody can get in front of the camera and do in front of social media. So what you want to find out as a person or as a man, as an aspiring entrepreneur is find something that takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to be able to do. Find that thing, do that thing, practice that thing, get really good at that thing, get really good at explaining that to people who have no idea what you're talking about, but they want the output or want the finished product, and then go out there and do it, and then you will make money. That's one of the greatest things I think Alex Hormozi ever talked about was the ability to power through and to embrace the suck of doing things you don't like to do. Because once you realize that most people are going to stop at this particular point and you keep going, you then pass those people and you become into a higher end of the spectrum, which is you hit the top of the mountain. So, for example, the reason like a chief information security officer or CIOs or Cisco, whatever they call, pay so much in the cybersecurity space is most people can't do it. Most people can't create an infrastructure of a network and protect it, make it hard, and make it difficult to penetrate and create backups and different access points. Most people can't do that. And because most people can't do that, most people don't. And as a result, you make more money because it's just a supply and demand. There's less people, more people need that done because every company and organization needs that done, especially governments, corporate entities, and high network people, whatever they have, entertainment industry. Pretty much any corporation needs those particular things. So if you can do that, as a result, you're going to make a lot of money because everybody needs it, but not a lot of people can do it. It's very simple. So what you want to do is get out in the world and find high skill sets, high-end skill sets. It's like finding a Lamborghini. A Lamborghini costs more because there's more intricate parts, less people can drive it, it's hard to make, as opposed to a Honda, which is you just kind of make it out of stock. Now, is the Honda valuable? Yeah, the Honda is still valuable, but the Lamborghini is a lot more valuable because it's a lot nicer looking and a lot harder to create. And last, knowing what a skill set is. Listen, the reason I say social media influencers are not a skill set, or they're not really like important or useful, because they don't really bring value to the community or people. People can't take an intangible thing, look at it, and say, oh shit, these people actually do something. Now, advertisers can use those people because they were like, okay, you bring in a lot of views, so how about I put ads, run ads to your content because my my whatever it's called, my data tells me, or my analytics tells me that you bring in this particular crowd of people. So if I have people, if I put ads within your content, I'll get more people to listen or watch what I have to put up. That's kind of what makes an influencer valuable. But the thing is, there's no real metrics for what makes an influence, why they want to watch it. A lot of times, there's a lot of stupid metrics, and a lot of people outgrow those influencers. So you want to find something that has some strong lasting power, something that's gonna be useful, like not just today, not just a year from now, not just a decade, but like throughout the rest of your life. You want to be something that's always going to be applicable. So technology, engineering, math, science, like construction, things that always going to be needed to be built. So housing, water, power, and energy, things like that will always be necessary for the average person to use. So those things are always going to have value. So if you find a skill set within those things, you will always be rich. But anyway, appreciate you guys for listening. Find a skill set, people. I really recommend cybersecurity. Figure out networking, technology. That is the future. AI can't really take away cybersecurity because AI is a arm or a tool to be used by a cybersecurity specialist in order to be able to protect the network. But appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you. And don't let this get you down because there's always hope in the future.